All right, just checking if a couple things are working here. I'm gonna be doing some things a little bit differently on this one. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm using these new kind of wired headphones. I don't know if they work all that great. If the volume's coming through, somebody let me know in the chat. Just give me a thumbs up or say that you can hear me. Good? Good. All right, I'm going to give it a couple minutes just to let more people come in to the stream here. I haven't done one of these in like 6 months. I look back at my live streams and it's been 6 months since I did a live stream. And usually what I do on these live streams is I'm kind of taking a walk or something like that. And I kind of just do it in my free time and I'm just answering questions. I get so many similar questions in my YouTube comments that I just feel like it's helpful to just get on here and just let people ask me kind of whatever they want. Some questions I can't answer, like it's very difficult legally to answer some of the questions that I get on YouTube, and I still won't be able to do a lot of that even on these live streams. Again, there's legal implications to asking me certain types of medical and health questions and things like that, but I like to answer as much as possible in this kind of format because it kind of cuts through all of those YouTube comments that I get that are questions that are very, very similar. And I answer those individually one at a time. But I've got, I don't know, 1,000 probably videos on my channel at this point. So it's hard to keep up with all of those different comments. So you're very welcome. I'm happy to help as far as keeping people updated on the information. It's very, very, very important information. John, hi, how are you doing? How is everybody doing? Hopefully well. Again, I try to make this one in the evening. I'm going to try to do lives a little bit more consistently. There's been so much that has happened in basically the two areas that I cover on this channel. I'm going to give you an update on kind of what I'm going to be covering in the future on this channel first before we get into anything else. I'm going to just give you a channel update and what I'm going to be putting content out about, which I think is important so that you can decide if you want to continue to follow my content or not. But a big part of this is going to be Q&A. We'll do Q&A at the end. You just ask me kind of whatever you want, and then we'll just kind of go from there. All right. So it's been 5 minutes, so I'll kind of get started here. And again, bear with me just while I get through some of these announcements and then some updates from the 6 months since I did since the last YouTube live I did. There's been some updates, and I made update videos on them, but I want people to be very clear on some of these subjects. So first, just channel updates and the purpose of my channel, and I'm really going to start focusing a little bit more down to two topics because that's what people that view my videos, really it comes down to two things. About a quarter of the people of the views that I get are on videos that I make about medical compliance, safety sensitive medical testing that is necessary, like the DOT physical, like the basic med exam for pilots, things like that. So if you are what's considered a safety sensitive employee, somebody that has to be tested medically, the federal government mandates that, like a commercial driver or something like that. A lot of the videos are going to be about that. Not a lot, but probably 20% of the videos are going to be about DOT physicals, basic med physicals, medical compliance, not drug testing. And I'm only going to make those videos when there's updates because the FMCSA especially makes updates. They don't tell drivers, they don't tell employers that employ drivers, they tell us those changes. And then the reason I started this channel was basically to make those updates so people were aware when people were coming into my office to get these exams done. So you're still going to see those types of videos on my channel, and I'm going to do a couple updates on this live stream about that subject specifically. But I know that a majority, 75% probably, of my views on this channel are about drug testing compliance, the science behind drug testing, how long things stay in your system, the different laws and the changes that are going on with that. So a lot of the content that you're going to see on my channel, again, probably 80%, because that's where most of the news is going to be about drug testing, still drug testing compliance, how long things stay in your system, the laws as they continue to change. And the point of the channel is to keep people, to just give people information and to keep transparency. So I think it's very important to make sure that people are informed when they get these exams done, because a lot of people are just going in blind, not knowing what to expect. So it's not about cheating. It's about giving people information, number one. And then the second part, the second reason I make videos pertaining to drug testing is because I think the drug testing system currently is unfair. And I'm not the only one that thinks it's unfair. The federal government thinks it's unfair as it stands right now, and as how the federal government requires testing, which is a urinalysis. And I can prove that because the federal government is moving towards saliva testing. Why are they moving towards saliva testing? It's not just because they thought that was the next thing to do, the newest thing to do, or for any other reasons. They're doing it because they understand that people are getting put out of service or not being hired, not because they're unsafe, but because they're testing specifically for THC, marijuana, that they did in the past. And they might not be unsafe, and that's what they're trying to crack down on, is people being safe, especially on the road. And that's not happening with the urinalysis, because you can test for it for such an extended period of time. So with that being said, the first little bit of news that I will get out to everybody is about saliva testing. And the news is that over the past year, there's been no news. The law is in place. We are allowed to test for saliva as an option instead of a urinalysis, but none of these labs have gone through the process that is necessary in order to be able to perform these tests. So the holdup, from what the FMCSA is telling me, is that the labs have to go through whatever process is necessary to be able to perform saliva tests, and they need 2 labs to do that, and neither has done that up to this point. So saliva testing is still on hold. As far as rescheduling goes, I'm going to try to see if I can share my screen on here, because, yeah, here we go. I think I'm going to be able to share my screen. This is today. I just read this today. This is on marijuanamoment.net. And it's basically the White House again saying that marijuana reform is good politics, and Trump is still considering rescheduling. The last time Trump spoke about rescheduling was, I think, about 2 months ago, where he said it was going to be a couple weeks before he got to it. Obviously, he's been very busy as far as everything that's been going on in the world, in Eastern Europe, in the Middle East, which just happened, with China and the economy and all of that. So he just, I don't know, I believe just hasn't gotten back around to it. But I'll just read you this one section here. An unnamed senior White House staffer, unnamed meaning, I don't know, can we take this all that seriously, said Trump sees how cannabis reform could benefit the Republicans. This is a Republican and Democrat. Both sides want to see the laws loosened as far as marijuana reform goes ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Could you imagine if Trump got marijuana rescheduled, where Biden could not get that done? And that's supposed to be such a left or Democrat kind of issue. And he's got some people like Stephen Miller that might be opposed to it, but they see it as good politics. So for whatever that's worth. So that's as far as rescheduling goes. There's not any news other than that. That news just keeps coming out, but I don't make videos every time somebody just says something. I need something a little bit more concrete before I'll make an actual video on it. Other things about like the future of drug testing, saliva testing, that should be coming next. Breathalyzer, I did a video on breathalyzer that they are developing. Oh, you couldn't see the screen? I don't know why the screen wasn't sharing. anyway, marijuanamoment.net has all the information that I was just talking about. I was going to share my screen again with regards to to California getting withheld funds by the Department of Transportation because they are not complying with the mandate that all drivers, commercial drivers, need to speak English. That was an executive order from months ago as well, and there was just a really bad wreck in California where the driver made a U-turn when he wasn't supposed to. There was a posted sign that said no U-turn. He did anyway. He wasn't able to speak English, and now they're threatening, I guess, to withhold, what is it, $40 million. And, you know, the administration and California, they kind of go back and forth too. They don't like each other all that much right now. So it's a little tit for tat with that. And then the final thing, and then we'll get to some questions. The final real thing I've got is, again, if you're a commercial driver, the NR2 system, again, I've made videos about the NR2 system, but just this is the update. If you are a commercial driver, you go in, you get your DOT physical done. They will give you a DOT, they will give you a medical card. You'll still get that piece of paper. If you live in most states, you can use that piece of paper to prove that you've passed the DOT physical for 60 days. And then after that, the information should transmit from our office once we approve you, once we put you into the system from the FMCSA, it goes directly to your state driver's license agency. So you no longer need that piece of paper after 60 days. You're no longer supposed to be able to use that piece of paper. There are certain states that are out of compliance. Kentucky is one, Florida is another, Vermont, there's 12 of them. I just did a video on all of them. I can't remember them off the top of my head. New York and California are both on that list. But if you live in one of those states, we can't put your information into the federal system and that information get to the state driver's license agency. You still have to take that piece of paper into the state driver's license agency, just like you had for every time you've done a DOT physical before. But if you live in a state that is compliant, Ohio, which I am in, is one of the states that is compliant, then you can only use that piece of paper for 60 days to prove that you've passed the DOT physical. And then that piece of paper is garbage, basically, at that point. Updates from our end. I'm working on a new masterclass. We have a masterclass that helps people be best prepared to pass upcoming THC tests. I'm getting ready to redo that because we do have a liver support supplement coming out that's going to fit really well into the detox process. There's a detox calculator that is on Exploro. It's exploro.pro/detox_calculator. And that you can put in a bunch of information and be able to estimate how long you will test positive for. And the posting of these videos, again, YouTube, last thing, and then it's question and answer. I'll spend the rest of the time in question and answer if people have questions. Last thing is that the videos that we make on the channel, unless they're like news that needs to get out right away, are going to be posted to the members section first. And the reason we post to the members section first is because the YouTube situation as far as posting content that is quote unquote drug related. Even though I'm doing drug testing education, they still consider it drug related and they demonetize most of my videos. So what happens is if you post it to the members can see it, but there's no ads running on the videos. And then if they reject it or say that it's got limited ads, then we can go in and fix it while it's still in the members section before it actually goes live to everybody else. So all of those videos still will be posted first to that members section. So again, I appreciate all the members of this channel as well. So, all right, ask me questions if you have any, if anything that I haven't answered directly in the comments of my YouTube videos, if you've asked, or if you've got any other questions, basic or otherwise. Again, I can't guarantee I can answer everything again, just for legal reasons, but A1C for drivers, it's the FMCSA makes suggestions. So, and this is what I use, is if you're under 6.5, you can qualify, and you have to be able to prove this. You have to bring in your A1C numbers. But if you're under 6.5, you can get a 2-year medical card. If you're 6.5 to 10, you can get a 1-year medical card. And if you're over that, you cannot be qualified. But usually you're if you have A1C numbers, you're controlled in that. Sometimes you're in the 7s. So usually with diabetes, you're going to get a 1-year medical card unless it's very well controlled. That is a good question. Yep, no problem. I'm surprised to get an actual DOT physical question as the first question. Usually all I'm getting is drug testing related questions. So it's good. All right, if anybody's got anything else, I'm happy to. I'm happy to stay on here. If not, I will jump off, but I'm going to try to do as more and more changes and more information is going to come out. So I'm going to probably try to do these lives, and I'm going to try to find a kind of a sweet spot in time too. I picked 5 Eastern on a Friday because I thought maybe people would be, off work then, at least in my time zone. If you're in California or somewhere else, maybe that doesn't work out for you. But I'm going to try to find a time that works with a lot of people. Delta 9 will most likely still make you test positive. Yes, it will make you test positive. Delta 9 will make you test positive. What else? What else? What else? All right. Well, I guess everybody's up to speed and up to date as far as questions and information. Except maybe Bobby here. Let's see. If scheduling happens, can you be that driver if you have a medical card? So yeah, this is a good question. So to Bobby, your question is, you can have a medical card. You just can't say, you can have a medical card. It's weird because state law is incongruent with federal law. You can have a medical card and still be medically cleared to drive. You just cannot use you can't use marijuana at all. You can't use medical marijuana. You can't have a prescription. I mean, you can have a prescription, you just can't be a user. So if you use marijuana medically on your DOT physical, you're going to be disqualified. I've unfortunately had to do that because people just think that they can use because it's prescribed. The DOT physical is a federal exam. So it falls under the umbrella of the federal government. The federal government says it's a Schedule I drug. It's a no-go. It doesn't matter what your state laws are. Delta 8 is going to probably make you test positive. Well, now the questions are coming in. John, over-the-counter medications and prescription medications can give you false positives. What you will do is you will bring a list of everything that you're taking, even supplements. Bring a list of everything you're taking to the drug test. They will give you a piece of paper. They'll actually have you write it on the back or some part of the form. You will write down everything that you're taking. And if you get something weird that comes up that you test positive for, it's called a false positive. The medical review officer at the lab will look at all of the medications you're taking, and if it makes sense that you tested positive based on an over-the-counter or prescription that you're taking, then they will change that positive result to a negative result. I hope that makes sense. To Bobby again, the Schedule 3 question, does that change if we go to Schedule 3? I don't think so. I don't think that safety-sensitive employees, pilots, commercial motor vehicle drivers, CDL drivers, whoever, are ever going to be able to test positive for THC marijuana. Now, I think the testing is going to change to make that testing more in line with how other drugs that we are testing for, the time frame that we can test them for. Like if you test for cocaine or if you test for opiates, anything else that we're testing for, the 5-panel drug test, you can only test for those things for a few days. It's THC that's the outlier because it's fat soluble, it gets caught in fat, and it can be re-released into your bloodstream for months. So again, the federal government knows this. That's why they're going to start allowing, hopefully very soon, relatively soon for the federal government, saliva testing, because with saliva testing, everything, there's parity between all of the drugs. All of the drugs can be tested for at about the same time frame. Fatty liver does slow the detox process. Liver, again, we're developing a liver support supplement. I'm sure I'll make a video once we release it, but the liver is the most important organ to support when you are trying to detox from anything, and having a liver that doesn't function optimally is going to cause that detox to be slower. The other thing that causes the detox to be slower is if you're doing multiple things. So if you're trying to detox, but you're also maybe smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol would be the big one at the same time, the detox process is going to be slower. So stopping everything that your liver has to work on and allowing it just to focus on metabolizing that one thing that you're concerned about before that drug test is the ideal situation. Again, this will, once I put together the new masterclass, which will be a little more streamlined, all of this information will be in there. Thank you so much, Sarah, and I love the emojis. Bobby, you're very welcome. To Mark's question, I don't know, actually. I don't think I can answer that question. I don't think I can answer that question. The collector wouldn't be able to tell, but it would have to be the right temperature. The labs have ways of testing for, it depends on the lab, kind of. They can, certain labs actually do check for synthetic urine. Most don't. Hard to say. Those are some good questions. I appreciate everybody asking. And these are the kind of questions that I get on a lot of my, in the comments of a lot of my videos. So it's good to be able to answer these kind of in real time. I don't have any other updates. I will try to do these. I don't know. I don't think I am. I don't think there's any reason for me to do these any more than maybe quarterly or something like that. I don't think monthly is very necessary. The news just, unless if there's big news that comes out, like when rescheduling happens, I'll jump on a live right away and I'll be the first one to let everybody know that rescheduling has happened, or if saliva testing happens or whatever, I'll jump on one of these right away. But beyond that, I mean, I'll keep making videos to make updates, but I don't see the need to do a bunch of lives. Oh man, Rogue, you're going to ask me a seriously complex question to close it out here. Hasn't smoked in 5 years, so you're clean. Takes a couple of hits and has fatty liver. Okay, so if you're your one-time user, I just did a one-time user video. If you're a one-time user, the body fat doesn't really matter. Now, if your liver isn't working all that well, that might slow down the detox process, but you're not looking at like months. If you use one time, and you're a one-time user, if you haven't used for 5 years, it's out of your system, and your liver isn't working all that well, it's going to be one-time user. It should be out of your system within a week. I don't know, let's say maybe at most 2 weeks. If you're a one-time user, if you use just once and then you stop, it should be out of your system in a couple of weeks. Yeah, who knows, John? All right, I am out of here. Thank you for all the questions. Thanks to everybody that showed up. I will be back. I'm pumping out new videos, so there should be a couple a week. I've been really working on shorts. People like the shorts now, so I've been really working on shorts. But there's a lot of information that I want to get out. So you'll see new videos from me coming out very, very soon. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again. I promise, not in 6 months, in less than 6 months. Hopefully an announcement comes out and I can actually make an announcement video. I like doing those. I like being able to make an announcement, hopefully with saliva testing, rescheduling, something like that. All right. Thanks, everybody.